Hey everybody, today is October 13th. Have you ever wondered what it means to be a witness for Christ? Today our epistle reading breaks down what it means for us, both in how we live and how even the things that we go through can be a witness to the Lord. Our epistle is from St. Paul's letter to the Philippians, chapter 1, and in it, St. Paul divides this reading in two different parts. One is a prayer for how he wishes the church will live and act among other people. And the second part is his witness to his own suffering and how that has advanced the gospel as well. The first part is this prayer, and he prays that the church may abound more and more in love and knowledge and discernment, that we will be loving to one another, that we will have knowledge of the Lord and have a vision of being able to discern not only right and wrong, but also the spiritual world, to be aware of ourselves and our actions and how they all relate. He also says that we have this knowledge and this discernment for a purpose. He says, so that we may approve what is excellent, that we may be pure and blameless for the day of Christ. In other words, that we may be able to discern these things and have this love so that we may have pure hearts, that we may be blameless before the Lord, so that we will be prepared for that coming of the Lord that will happen. And then he says that he prays that we are filled with the fruits of righteousness, which come from Jesus Christ. That this works that we have are not from our own righteousness, but come from the righteousness of God that he gives us. And that all of this, our love, our righteousness, our approving what is excellent, all of this is for the glory of God. And that is a witness, that how we live our lives is how we witness to the Lord who lives in and through us in the church. And then he says that there's his witness of his own life, his own testimony. He says that what's happening to him in this moment, him being imprisoned, is actually helping the gospel. It's not hurting the gospel, like, oh, look, this is what happens to Christians. They get tortured or they get put into prison. He says it's actually helping the gospel. And why is it that it's helping the gospel? He says that his imprisonment is known to everyone, that it's for Christ, that it's spread throughout the whole praetorium, that all the people in the prison and the guards all know that this is because of Jesus. That means that even though he's suffering, everyone sees him and says, he's here because of Jesus. Maybe they hadn't heard of him before, or they don't know who this Jesus is, but now they have a person who's connected to him, that they're able to connect Jesus with this person that they're encountering. And then he even says that the Christians themselves have become more confident in the Lord, that they're confident to speak aloud without fear about not only who Christ is, but their own witness to what he has done in their lives. And so instead of it weakening the gospel, instead of saying, oh, the gospel is so that people can have a lot of money and live happy lives, St. Paul is saying that's not what the gospel is about. The gospel is actually strengthened when people are able to live and encounter suffering, but turn it over to God and be strengthened. That they find their strength not in themselves, but they find their strength to endure suffering when they turn it over to Christ. This is the witness of 2,000 years of Orthodox Christian history, that we are a church not of prosperity, that we're not a church that says, look how beautiful we are because we have all these icons and we have bishops who are connected politically, or because we have an emperor during the Byzantine Empire that is connected to the church. It wasn't all about that. That we have strength that comes from enduring suffering. We have strength from being able to turn that over to God and to recognize our strength is not within ourselves, but within God who lives and is with us. So this is a great reminder for us in 2020, in whatever it is that we're encountering, whether it's just all of the normal things that have had to be postponed, that appear really different, just church services are really different these days. There's all sorts of political turmoil in our country and politically in the world, with Turkey, with Armenia, with coronavirus. There's so much going on that can cause people to despair. And St. Paul is reminding us today that we're not to despair, that we're called to be able to turn over what it is that we're suffering from, that we're struggling with, and to ask for strength from Christ, and he will give it to us. And that we can be able to turn that thing that we're going through to the glory of God, so that the gospel will not be weakened, but will be strengthened through what it is that we're enduring and going through. And the gospel reading is just a great reminder that the gospel was not just being witnessed by the 12 disciples, but was being witnessed by all those that were following Christ. And that also included a lot of women. And the gospel reading from St. Luke reminds us that some of those women were St. Mary Magdalene. There were also Joanna, the wife of Hosea and Herod's steward, and Susanna, and many others, it says. And this tells us that the gospel needs to be witnessed by everyone. It needs to be witnessed by the entire church, not by a priest only, not only by pastoral assistants like me or youth directors, not only by parish council presidents or the parish council or the Philippians, but all of us, men and women, all those who are members of the church are witnesses to Christ in and through not only the good days, but the sufferings, and how we turn that over to the Lord and give glory to him. Amen.